In honor of National Crafting Month, I am going to get busy and organize my quilting supplies and projects. So stay with me today. I'm going to be creating a new notebook, a new dashboard, and all kinds of fun things. So stay with me and I'll show you how I do it. Well, hi everyone. I'm Crystal from A Crystal Clear Life, where we focus on planning, organizing, and living a more simplified life. And today we are going to focus on that organizing part. It is National Craft Month here in the United States, and that happens every year in the month of March. And I have been doing lots of crafty videos for this month, so I wanted to continue that with one of my favorite hobbies, which some of you may know, which is quilting. Now, I have talked to you about some of my projects before. You know, I've been working on a quilt for my nephew. I do a graduation quilt for each of my nieces and nephews as they graduate from high school. But I also do baby quilts and I do quilts for myself. And sometimes when I'm in a fabric store, like for example, when I see a line like this and I just think it's so cute, I go ahead and pick up what I think I will need for a quilt and I bring it home and I put it in a bag with an idea, sometimes with a pattern. And I just kind of store those until I can get around to making them. Well, like anything else, you know, you get more and more projects going, and before you know it, you've got a whole handful, and they get hard to keep track of. While I was thinking about organizing all of those quilt projects that I have, some that I've put on myself, some that were gifted to me from a friend when she moved, and some that were gifted to me from a friend who is no longer quilting due to an illness. So anyway, I have lots and lots and lots of projects, probably enough to keep me busy until I am 100. I don't know. Lots of projects. But anyway, what I wanted to do is I wanted to come up with a place to store all of these, what I call projects or UFOs in the quilting world, unfinished fabric objects or unfinished objects. They might be projects that are partially started, like this one. This was one that was gifted to me. I got the book on how to do the project. I got the sample for how to put the blocks together. And I got stacks and stacks of already cut quilt pieces. Isn't that quite a gift? Now, really then all I need to do is get started and sew these things together. I can't tell you how beautiful I think all of these colors are. I think this is going to make a really, really, really lovely quilt. But so that I don't forget about it and don't store it somewhere where it will never get made, I have it all in this cute little shoebox tub with a little note on the end that says French braid quilt. And I need to add this to my project list or my UFO list. It is an unfinished fabric object. And so that's kind of what I want to talk to you about today. I have lots and lots to share with you regarding organizing quilting materials. Now, you might say to me, but Crystal, I'm not a quilter. I don't care about that. No, but my guess is that everybody has a hobby that they might want to keep track of. Maybe you do cross stitch. Maybe you are a knitter or a crochet person and you have lots and lots and lots of yarns and threads that you need to do or to organize. Maybe you are somebody who does stamping, paper crafts, rubber stamps, that kind of thing. Maybe you're somebody who's into fly fishing and you have all these materials to make all of these flies and all these flies that you've already made, and where are they stored and how are you going to keep track of that? Maybe you're a woodworker. You know, it just goes on and on and on about all of the different hobbies that you might have and the need to store those materials. So I'm hoping today that by me showing you how I am going to set my stuff up specific to quilting, you might be able to get some ideas to help you set up an organizational system for your craft supplies. Okay? All right. So let's get into it. And, I'm so excited. I have so much to share with you. This will probably be 2 videos, because I think if I do it all in one, it will be kind of long, and I don't want it to be too long. So let's go ahead and we'll see how far we get, and then we'll break and start a new video if we need to. Okay? All right. Let's see. Let's take a look at my computer screen here, and I want to show you how my crazy brain works, all right? So I was sitting there with all of these quilt projects around me, and can I just say that I probably have 3 large plastic tubs with just quilt project after quilt project in them. Some of them are kits and have everything and they're ready to go. Some of them are just collections of beautiful Christmas fabrics that I thought, oh, I want to make a table runner with this, or I want to make a quilt for the, for the end of the couch for the Christmas time, that kind of thing. So there's all kinds of things in there. And what I find is that I'm losing track of how many projects I actually have, especially since I got 2 friends that donated all of these projects to me. So I thought, I got to keep those projects front and center. So if you look here on my screen, I was sitting there one night just on my iPad thinking about these projects with all of these things piled around me. And I thought, let me go ahead and make a notebook background. That's where I'll start. And, I'll make it like a quilt planning page, okay? Not really to do an individual quilt, but to keep track of all of my quilting things. Then I started looking at all the things that I have in my crafting section here. Wait a minute, let me start. This is my personal notebook that I have up here. This was the very first notebook that I ever created in OneNote, and it tends to be the place where I put all kinds of information. And then when a section gets too big, or I think that it's too big, I will then break that section out, create a new notebook, and then transfer all of the information, all the pages that relate to that new notebook into that particular new notebook, okay? I've done that in the past with you guys before. I've shown you with my gardening journal. I've shown you with my book journal. I've shown you with my 5-year diary. And now I'm showing you with my quilting journal. I think the next thing that's going to come out of this notebook, because there's really way too much in there, are all of my stickers. So that's going to be another project once I get this quilting stuff taken care of. Okay? So, and sitting down and thinking about creating a notebook for my quilting supplies, I decided to come up with a notebook background and a quilt plan. And the more I thought about it, I thought, why not make it look like a quilt block? And then add links to each of the different sections that I want to create in my new notebook. So this was kind of my pre-planning page, all right? I even went and found some colors that I thought were pretty, just to put down there for, maybe how the quilt block might look. So for those of you who are not familiar with quilting, this quilt block pattern right here is a traditional 9 patch. So there would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 blocks within that, smaller blocks within that one bigger block, okay? And I started thinking about, well, I could do any plans that I have, patterns, that kind of thing. I could do projects that I have. I could do unfinished objects, just trying to think of all of the things that I had in my quilt section, okay? And then I started playing around with it. And let me show you what I came up with. And then I want to take you through and show you how to create this, okay? So this was my inspiration, my brainstorming, my, how is this going to work? And this is what I came up with. Okay, so you can see I created a notebook background here, and I actually added a photograph of a piece of quilting there, and I have a transparent kind of almost vellum, if you were in the, you know, the paper world of planning world, a piece of vellum on top. And then I broke it down into these 9 patch blocks. So there's a 9 patch here, a 9 patch, a 9 patch, and a 9 patch. And I've just started kind of filling things in. So I have my quilt planner master right here. I have a list of my UFOs. I have my quilted completed projects list. I have a quilt pattern inventory, a quilt project inventory, how to choose a needle, some stuff on color theory, sewing machine manual for my particular sewing machine, and then a quilting reference sheet. So you can see that this first quilt block here is all kinds of projects and fabric related. This second one is all sewing and sewing machine and, you know, kind of quilting basics kind of information. And this 2 bottom 9 patches that are empty, well, that's just room to grow. That's just what I think. And I also decided to put on this little page a notepad that says up next for 2024 to kind of help me keep going on, you know, what I want to work on next. So we have my nephew Nick's graduation quilt. That's off to the long arm quilter now. Got that done in time. All I have to do for that one is make the binding and, you know, sew the binding on when it comes back from the long armor. I finished a little quilt called Too Many Fish in the Sea. That was a quilt top. I got the backing for it. That's going to be one of the pieces that I practice long arm quilting on. I don't know how that's going to turn out, but we'll see. And I also have another one called Recess Games that was just a bunch of scraps that somebody gave me, and they were all, you know, kids jump roping and 4 squares and bubbles and cars and all of that kind of stuff. And I just, you know, being a teacher, that was all of the kind of stuff that kids love to play at recess, you know, 4 square and, you know, jump rope and all of that stuff. So I decided to call that quilt Recess Games. And again, the quilt top is finished, the backing is chosen. That's another practice piece for me for long arming. They are smaller quilts, you know, maybe 42 inches wide by 42, you know, kind of square quilts that I can practice long arm quilting on. So I think that's going to be fun. And then I started thinking, well, what's the next thing that I need to do? And all I have to do now is go to my project inventory down here and pull out what I want to do next. Okay. All right. So I think this looks incredible. I love the quilting fabric picture that I used here in the background. This is not a photograph of one of the quilts that I made. It's actually in PowerPoint. And so I'm going to show you how I created this notebook background in PowerPoint. It's very much like I did my planner background and that kind of thing, but I want to show you a couple things about like inserting this photograph and putting the transparent vellum paper over the top and that kind of thing. Okay, so now you see what our finished product is going to look like, hopefully. Now let's jump over to PowerPoint and I want to show you what I did over there. Okay. All right, let's go. All right, so let me get PowerPoint up here on my main screen. And you can see here, this is basically the notebook. And the PowerPoint slide deck that I'm working in is the slide deck that I have created so many other notebooks in. So you can see here, there's a notebook like I was using last year. Up here is my little black notebook from 2013. And then this one, I was just playing with different colors and things on the background. Oh, and this is the notebook that I'm currently using. So what I did to start is I took the notebook that I'm currently using and I made some modifications, okay? I have a link to a video about how I made this notebook and how I, you know, have changed things around. But what I want to do today is I want to try and start from the scratch again, just so you guys can get a refresher as to how to do this, okay? So I'm going to go up here to the home menu, go up here to the home menu, and I'm going to say new slide, and I'm going to say insert a blank slide. Okay. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to go up to our draw menu, and we are going to create that background first. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to, actually let's go to insert, and we'll do a shape, and we'll do this rounded corner shape here, and we will do a shape that looks something like that. Okay. Now, this little yellow button up here, I can drag that and make my corners sharper. If I want to, I can make them completely sharp, or I can add a little bit of curve to them. And that's kind of what I like the look of, is that slight curve. Okay. All right. Now, for this, I can do any fill color that I want. If you look down here at recent colors, you're going to see some different colors that I was playing around with that kind of match the photograph that I'm using. But you can choose any of these colors that you like. And if you want more fill colors, you can go to more fill colors here. Okay. I'll also show you how to use the eyedropper tool in just a minute. Okay. All right. So for now, we're going to leave it purple. We're not going to worry about that. We can also change the outline if we want. We can change it to a different color. Again, let me get some more graphics on here, and then we'll start playing around with that kind of thing. All right. Okay, so now I want to go up to insert, and here I'm going to say picture. I want to insert a picture. And let's go to stock images from PowerPoint and see what they have. They're going to come up with all of these different images that I could choose, but I wanted to see what they had for quilts. Okay, and you can see when I type in quilts, these are the stock images that they have. Okay, so here's a granny square kind of quilt. Here's a very bright and bold kind of quilt. I really wanted something that was more of a long rectangle, so I didn't want to choose that one. This one's okay, but I never would be able to make a quilt like that. And I want something soft for the background. So I decided to go with this picture right here. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to say insert. And there is the image that comes in. Okay, now I can click and drag that, and I can make it fit into the rectangle that I already have. And I want just a little bit of that showing. I want a little bit of that background showing because I think that's pretty. Okay, so I can leave that like that. That's pretty cool. But now let me show you about that eyedropper. So if I go up here to fill fabric, again, I'm selecting this purple background color here. Okay, and I'm going up to fill. And when fill comes up, it's going to allow me one of the choices for the eyedropper, okay? So I'm going to click on the eyedropper, and that gives me this little square that I can then move around on this picture that I have. And you'll see that as I move it around, it picks up whatever color my cursor down here at the bottom happens to be pointing to. So you see here, it's a dark red. All right, or I could pick this lighter pink, or I could go over here and choose this green color if I want to. Let's see, this green's a little bit darker. Okay, so you can see from here, I can grab any of these colors that I want. Okay, I'm going to pick this, I kind of like this dark plum, this dark red color here. So I'm going to click that, and you see that it gives me that dark, rich background, okay? Now, when I look at that and compared to the picture, maybe that's a little too high contrast. So let's look at that again. Let's click on that square back there. Let's go to fill. And we'll go back to that eyedropper, and maybe I need something a little bit softer, okay? There's kind of a dusty color. Let's try that one. Okay. Now, when you look at that, you see that it's a little less contrast. It's a little less sharp. And I think that looks good. Okay. So I'm going to leave that. Again, on this fill back here, I can do gradients if I want. You know, I can do all kinds of things. let's look at the various gradients. I can have no gradient, meaning that it's all going to be the same color. Come back, Fill menu. I can, let's do a different gradient. I can do a gradient that starts dark at the top and gets lighter at the bottom. I can do one that's darker on the side and gets lighter as it goes across. I can also do darker variations of that particular color, okay? And so you can go through and pick and choose what you like, all right? You can also do it where it's dark in the center and fans out. I think I'm going to pick this one that is darker at the top and lighter at the bottom, okay? I'm just making it a little bit different than the one that's in my PowerPoint, just so you guys can see exactly how to do that, okay? What some of all the options are. All right, okay. Now, the next thing that I want to do is I'm going to go back up to my insert menu. And again, I'm going to insert a shape. I want another rectangle or this rounded corner rectangle. And I'm going to draw that line and I'm going to draw it right over top of my quilt that I have there. Okay. And I apologize if you can hear my kitty cat snoring. She has settled down and it's going to be quite loud here, I think. I apologize. All right, I want to leave a little bit of that showing so that you know that the quilt is back there. And again, I can grab this yellow corner and make those corners exactly the way I want them to be. All right. And for this one, for the fill on this one, I want this one to be a very light color. You know, I could go pure white like that. And then I can also look at different textures if I wanted to. I don't think I want textures on this one, but I do want to change that transparency. So let's look at changing the transparency. Okay, so under Shape Format over here on this menu, I now have Fill, and I want a solid fill, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the transparency, okay? And when I do, you will see that that background picture really starts to show through. So here you can play around with how much of that you want to show through and how much of it you still would like to see as white. So you can see here, hopefully on the screen, that if I make the transparency very minimal, you can still see a little bit of the stitching, but primarily it is a white background, okay? But if I go with more and more transparency, you can see there the quilting showing up behind. And I think that's kind of pretty. So I'm going to leave that. And we're going to leave that as a solid fill. Okay. And again, if we want to change the shape fill, we can go up here and choose a different color, you know, if we want, or we can choose, you know, all kinds of colors, and you'll see that they're still transparent. You can still see the picture behind it. I just think the white will work best for what I want, okay? All right, so I'm gonna leave that there like that, all right? And now what I'm gonna do is, you know, I told you guys before that I purchased this spiral graphic from Etsy many years ago. And so what I am gonna do here is I'm just gonna copy that same spiral and I'm going to take it back to this page that we've been working on, and I am going to paste it, and then I can move it into place. So I'm going to put it so it's kind of, I need to keep it on the slide, okay? So I need to keep it on the slide, but it looks like it is holding down that colored paper in the background, and it is also holding down the vellum paper. All right. Now, let's say I don't like this dark line on this paper. Maybe I want it to look a little bit differently. Okay. I can go to the outline feature here, and then I can go down here and I can change the weight of that line. Okay. So I could make it thicker if I wanted to. Wow, that really stands out. I can make it much smaller. I can make it actually almost, you know, kind of go away if I want to. But I also can, outline. I also then can go to what is a sketched looking line, or they also have dashed lines, which almost look like, you know, sewing thread. So I could do something like that if I wanted to make it look like a stitched line around the side. Okay. So let's look at more lines. And when you bring up more lines, you see all of the choices over here that you can choose from. Okay, so I could make them black. I could make them a different color. Maybe I want to make them more of this rose color so they kind of blend in a little bit more. That looks good. I don't need to mess with the transparency. What if I adjust the width? Then you see that the dashes get farther and farther apart. So they are starting to look more like stitched lines, like you see here in the quilt. I kind of like that. Okay, and there's our style again. And then you could even do a compound line if you wanted. You could do 2 separate rows, which, you know, might be interesting. You know, not necessarily important for what I need today, but there you have it. That's kind of a cool look, I think. I like that lightly stitched line. Okay. All right, now let's take a look at this outline on the outside. Because this is supposed to look like a notebook, I like the fill line of being solid out here. The only thing that I might play around with for the outline of this pink part back here is I might make the outline just this darker color so it kind of blends in a little bit more and is not that stark black outline. Okay? All right, so then let's click off of that and take a look at that. How does that look to you guys? Do you think it looks good? I like the solid line. I like the coloration. I like the sewing line in there. So I think all of that looks great. Now remember, PowerPoint also offers some icons. I knew there was another word I was thinking about. So since I am dealing with quilting stuff, let's take a look and see what sewing things, icons that they might have. When I type sewing, nothing comes up. Let's type needle. Nope, nothing comes up. All right, let's look at images and see if any sewing images come up. All right, well, there's a whole bunch of images there. Anything that I think I could use. I like that. I was really looking for an icon. Let's see. Maybe thread? Ah, okay. I knew if I kept searching, I'd find something. All right, so there is a needle and thread. So for now, I'm just going to say insert those two so that I have them. And they'll be, oops, undo. And they'll be there if I want to use them for something else, okay? Actually, I'm going to pull them off to the side for now. Put them down here at the bottom because I don't want them to be part of the graphic that I'm going to choose. Actually, let me do this. I'll delete them from now and I'll come back and get them. I just wanted to show you guys that they were there. So highlight that and delete, highlight that and delete, and there is our notebook. Okay, now how do we get that back into OneNote? Okay, I'm going to go up here to my home key and I am going to, well, I could select all or I could click and drag to incorporate everything. And then you see everything is selected. So this little dot up here is for my background. The second dot is for my picture. The third dot is for my vellum piece of paper. And then I have my spiral over here on the side. Okay, so I can right click on that and say copy. And then I can go back into OneNote. And I will work over here on the side. And I will say paste as a picture. And when I do that, there is my notebook background. And no longer can all of those things be separated. They are just now one graphic picture. and then I can make it whatever size I want by going up, down, that kind of thing. Okay. And now I have that graphic that I can use on whatever page I would like to use it on. Okay. So you see the one that we just created in PowerPoint right here is a little bit different than the one that I created earlier for myself. Let's make it about the same size so that you can compare them. Alt and drag my mouse around to get it right into place. So you can see the differences there. Here I did a darker color at the top and did the gradient at the bottom. You know, they look different. You can make them however you want. Okay, it doesn't matter. And that's really how I came up with this background page. Now, I think that this looks great, and I'm excited now to have a second page that I can use. Actually, this color here really matches this legal paper sticker that I have pretty well, doesn't it? All right, well, you know what? I think that's probably enough for us to do in this video, making that notebook background. So I think I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to say to everyone, thanks for watching, and please think about subscribing if you have not done so already. Subscribing is free, and it really does help out my channel. Give this video a thumbs up if you have liked anything or if you've learned anything new. I'm going to go ahead and end this video, and I will start part 2. Not going to wait for another day, just going to film it now. So you'll see a continuation of this the following week after this one comes out, all celebrating the month of March and National Craft Month here in the United States. So until the next one, here's hoping that you can live a more organized and simplified life through better planning. I use OneNote. Okay, until next time. Bye.